Backstory Munich is back and in full force, meanwhile PXG fans on Twitter and TikTok are preparing for the worst possible outcome. What's going on everyone, my name is Animasu, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Blue Lock Chapter 291 leaks, titled The Fastest. If you enjoy staying up to date with the series, or just want to support my channel, please take a second to click that subscribe button and drop a comment with some video ideas you'd like to see. While you're down there, I also have a community Discord where you can chat or play games with me and plenty of other awesome people. Anyways, without further ado, let's get right into today's leaks. The Blue Lock Chapter 291 leaks begin with fans all over the world watching their monitors while screaming in disbelief. With some amazing reflexes and adaptability, Kaiser has managed to defend the goal from itoshi with a last-second acrobatic clear. As we watch the deflected ball fly off into the sky towards PXG's half, Kaiser and Rin can also be seen both crashing into the pitch from their previous duel. Page 2 then switches to the perspective of Isagi yoichi, who is also staring at the two rising players with immense confusion. Isagi even goes on to admit that with just his sole reading of the situation, he lost to itoshi. As we see Michael back up and taunting Rin while running alongside him, Isagi says that it was actually Kaiser's newly awakened abilities that save him from an early demise. With Page 3 then coming to the Emperor himself sprinting up the field, he goes on to say that with yoichi, everything bad in his past has been given meaning. The shitty life he endured and all he abused, the hatred in his heart, it's surprisingly accepted and gains meaning on the pitch alongside Isagi yoichi. It's a really sad and wholesome moment because he even goes on to say that this is the first time he's felt so full of meaning and accepted in his entire life. As the loose ball descends into the grasp of Yukimiya Kinyu, even he points out the ever-changing Kaiser and how similar it is to Yuki's past self. The same thing is causing them both to evolve as well, playing with Isagi yoichi. It does not matter if you're with or against him. When playing with Isagi, you must be constantly adapting as your current self just won't cut it. With Yuki then leaving Charles in the dust while also speeding past Shoppa, he continues on to say that if you cannot change, then you just won't be needed. Thinking back on his tragic past and coming up with his winning goal versus Munchen, Yukimiya Kinyu of all people knows that you must confront your past self and weaknesses in order to grow. People standing on the same field as Isagi yoichi, that's both their privilege and cruelty. With Yuki dropping a philosophical quote on our heads to really cement the glaze, the dribbler then approaches Tokumitsu, who cannot calm himself. Screaming out as Yuki approaches, it's made visually clear to us that those who cannot become new will simply disappear as the stronger test their limits. Tokumitsu is completely bypassed with minimal effort, however continuing on, Yukimiya hits a roadblock with Nanase and Zantetsu both leaping in for a double press. They both manage to get an arm around to hold Yuki back, however instead of letting the ship sink, Yukimiya actually shoots a pass upfield to the cool-headed Yo Hiyori. While leaping into the air to trap the ball, Hiyori continues the glaze by stating that they were all egoists who died once but were brought back to life by Isagi yoichi. Like, I totally understand that playing with Isagi has changed their perspective on life and the sport, but dear god, I feel a deep uneasiness when all of this praise is being piled up on one character and one chapter. Now, I really expect him to show out, but I don't know man, this is just kinda worrying me. Anyways, with Hiyori continuing upfield while cooking the defense, he tells Yukimiya that their gratitude is not what Isagi wants. More than anything, he actually used these dumbasses purely for his own goals, so if they can just renew their faith and take their lives back, I'm sure that'll be more than enough for Isagi. Of course, Hiyori is having flashbacks too of when he was at his worst, then compared to Isagi firing him up in the Uber's game that led to his awakening. The only reason Yo Hiyori is still fighting is because that's what Isagi helped teach him. Do not let your ego or future be bound by anything or others. Isagi yoichi may be the center of Basher Munich, but none of the players are fighting for his sake. They're chasing after their goals, their dreams, their own unique ego. In the glass shard shedding out from Yo Hiyori's run, we see moments like him celebrating with Isagi after their victory against Ubers, his actual awakening, and even him thanking his buddy for being there. People call it friendship is magic and complain all they want, but from day one, Isagi's been that guy to uplift all of those around him, not only for their benefit, but also for his. Hiyori even confirms this on page 11 by calling it Isagi's magic once more, even attributing it to be the source of Basher Munich's strength. As he looks forward to Isagi approaching the goal box, Hiyori says that all of them are exposing their egos freely, because with yoichi, everyone feels like they're the protagonist. Anyways, the perspective then changes to the man himself, Isagi, who while glancing back at Hiyori, admits that he cannot alone read the awakening of a genius. In this case, Kaiser was the one to stop itoshi by using his abilities to the fullest, and also adapting faster than everyone. Breaking it down in his head, Isagi then begins to realize that the most important thing for a talented learner is their awareness of their adaptability. As a puzzle piece that appears with the chapter title Fastest on it, Isagi continues on to say that talented learners may not have the stunning sensibility of a genius or their innate abilities. Their talent comes in the form of reading the mistakes and evolutions of the field, to then change themselves to the ideal machine as fast as possible. With pages 14 and 15 then showing an amazing double spread of Isagi reforming himself while sprinting ahead, he seems to be fully confident in closing the game now. If designed faster than anyone else, this one attack will become the originality that pierces the world. With page 16 then showing us Yoichi activating his metavision prowess, he looks ahead for another super sadistic pass to hopefully end the game. Finally, this late in the game, Hiyori is once again remembered that he too has free will and looks to both Kaiser and Isagi as passing options. To him, it has been nothing to do with the striker, and is instead fully based on the best pass he himself can dream of. Sadly, while pulling back his leg to fire off the pass, Yoichi is caught off guard by Tabito Karasu, who appears at his front. Smiling wide now with his own metavision prowess, Karasu calls Hiyori a dumbass while acknowledging the fire now burning deep within him. With a crow even appearing like a stand behind him, Karasu continues on to say how excited he is to fight Hiyori in such an awesome place. The ice sheep is initially annoyed by this, but thinking back on the words Karasu once said to him, Hiyori begins to lock in and contemplate the challenge. Are you ordinary or not? Ultimately deciding that the challenge is a necessary one for the birth of the new egoist, Yoichi charges ahead into Karasu Tabito for a straight-on matchup. Karasu too happily sprints ahead to dance, once again daring his rival to show all that he's learned. I really hope to see a few pages of this duel in the next chapter, but the final page for today's leaks, well, they show ALEXIS NESS sprinting frantically up the field. Chasing after Isagi, yoichi, and Michael Kaiser, Ness is biting his upper lip while saying "I" over and over. I'm really hoping that ALEXIS NESS has a major impact in the final play, because once again, Yoichi's magic was mentioned in this chapter. He's shown here in the final page, and more than anything, I feel like his single word is important. I. Maybe Ness is finally thinking about himself and what he wants rather than fully revolving around Michael Kaiser. He needs to return back to why he started playing and why he strives to carry on. I'd also like to clarify on some misinformation being spread like a wildfire from these brain-rotted greedy TikTok creators. The author never said Ness would only be relevant in the World Cup arc. This was a mistranslation and he simply never said that. There was a fan meetup where basically you could meet up with Nomura and Kaneshiro, ask them questions about characters, and maybe they would tell you something interesting or just not that important. But as for ALEXIS NESS, what was said is that he would have future relevance. That is quite literally it. Also, why are people saying that his stats are bad when quite literally the only thing holding him back is his mental chains? Not only can Blue Lock fans not read, they can't fact check, and they can't trust TikTok creators. Anyways, we then have some outro text for today's leaks which state, at the climax of a deadly battle, ALEXIS NESS is left behind, all alone. All of these emotions are bottled up, and they simply cannot be explained with words. With that sadly being the end of chapter 291 leaks, we will luckily pick up next week in chapter 292, titled Bad Luck. The title immediately stood out to me considering how important luck has been in the series. With ALEXIS NESS unable to speak and clearly angry at the end of today's chapter, could he possibly ruin Bayern Munich's victory and fumble the bag? Bad luck can also be related to bad omens, curses, and things of that sort, which also all relate to magic. Is it possible that ALEXIS NESS awakens next chapter and brings misfortune down upon PXG with his spells? Whatever the case may be, feel free to drop your theories or thoughts down below in the comment section, as I really love chatting with you all. With that sadly being the end of today's Blue Lock leaks, I just want to thank you all so much for tuning into the channel. If you enjoy staying updated with the manga or just want to support me, please feel free to click that subscribe button and join my community Discord. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.